The stars were silent. In the far corner of the galaxy, the Velari people were screaming into the void. Their cities were falling, their skies were red, their children were dying, and their leaders were begging for anyone to help, but no one came. The Velari sent hundreds of messages. Across all channels, in all known languages, they begged the Galactic Council. They begged their old allies. They begged even their enemies. Still no answer. The invaders were called Craven Maulers. They were not a race. They were a storm. Tall, armored, and merciless, they swept across Velari space like fire. No diplomacy, no rules. Just death. On planet Ulara, the last Velari capital, a young girl named Lyra held her brother close. Their parents were gone. Their city was gone. Only an old shelter kept them safe, but even that was shaking. Above them, Velari defense ships were being torn apart. The Craven ships laughed as they crushed escape pods. One by one, slowly, as if enjoying it. Inside the shelter, a small beacon blinked. It was a distress transmitter, old, weak, but still sending a signal. Lyra had pressed the red button 3 days ago. She whispered again and again, "Please, someone hear me." Then the signal traveled. Through ancient relay stations, through broken satellites, past stars no one had visited in years, until it reached a quiet dark rock orbiting Neptune in Earth's solar system. The listening post. It was called Outpost 07. No one cared about it anymore. It was old Earth tech, built before the Galactic War, a forgotten place, run by old men, watching empty space. Inside, Captain Elias Reyes sat alone, his eyes tired, his hair gray, his uniform dusty. He was reading an old book, paper book. Real. 1. No screens. Suddenly the console beeped. At first, Reyes ignored it. Probably just another static burst. Then it beeped again, louder. He leaned forward and pressed the screen. Incoming transmission, emergency band, non-human Oragian. Reyes sat upright. His heart kicked. He tapped the command key. The message played. At first, just static, then a voice, a child's voice, scared, soft. "Velari, we are dying, please, someone. Anyone." Reyes didn't breathe. Then came the sound of explosions, screams, metal ripping. The message ended with 3 words, "They are coming." Then silence. Reyes didn't move for a full minute. The galaxy had changed. Earth was no longer a major power. After the last war, humans went quiet. No more fleets. No more invasions. Just peace, isolation. But that message, it was real. And something inside him stirred. The forgotten flame. Reyes walked to a locked panel on the wall. He hadn't opened it in years. He pressed his hand on the scanner. It lit green. Inside was a small device, a communicator, encrypted, black as night. He held it tightly. Then he said, "This is Captain Reyes, level 9 clearance. Activate Protocol Phoenix." Silence. Then a voice responded, cold and deep. "Protocol Phoenix confirmed. Do you wish to wake the fleet?" Reyes closed his eyes. He remembered the war, the fire, the screams of his own people. He whispered, "Yes." The sleeping giants far beyond Earth, hidden in deep voids, under ice moons and black space stations, something stirred. They were called the Black Armada, ships without names, engines without sound, weapons not seen in any other galaxy. They were once Earth's hidden answer to extinction. And now they were waking up. In the outer system, one by one, the ships came online. AI cores blinked. Cannons powered up. Engines hummed like thunder held inside a cage. One AI voice echoed in silence. Human priority signal received. Target, Craven. Operation, Flattened. The sky was about to change. The Council turns away on the Galactic Council. Station, orbiting the planet Nexus. A meeting was in progress. Alien leaders argued. Talked numbers, rules, Politics.VLI Ambassador Tulin Vea stood in the middle, his face bruised, his eyes tired. "We are being wiped out," he said. "And you sit here, debating trade routes?" The others looked away, the Graal representative. "Saad, we warned your people. You expanded too far. You brought this on yourselves." Tulin's hands shook. "So you do nothing?" The council leader, a shimmering blue-eyed Selnari, answered coldly, "War with the Craven means death. We choose life." Tulin shouted, "Then may Earth return. May they rise again. Because none of you deserve the stars." They laughed at him. "Fools, they didn't know Earth had heard the broken edge back on Valari space. The Craven Maulers were finishing the job. Planet Ulara's skies were falling, but something strange appeared on their scanners, a ripple, a distortion. Then a wormhole opened. Silent, massive. From it came shapes, giant, black, sharp like knives, no lights, no radio signals, just presence. Craven warships turned their guns. They fired, nothing hit. Then the black ships answered, with light. With fire, with silence that shattered metal. The first blow from the bridge of the lead Earth vessel. Reyes watched the destruction. The Craven fleet had no time to react. Earth ships didn't fight fair. They didn't send warnings. They just erased threats. Lyra, in her shelter, saw the sky change from red to white. She cried, but this time, from shock, she saw a ship bigger than her entire city glide across the clouds. Silent, powerful. She whispered, "They came." The message received on the council station, alarms screamed. "Unidentified fleet in Valari space. Impossible." "Who?" The screen flashed one word. ER2. The council fell silent. Someone dropped their cup. "Valari." Ambassador Tulin stood slowly, his voice full of tears. "I told you." Final scene. Reyes stood in front of his crew. Veterans, augmented soldiers, each face marked by old wars. He spoke just once. "We didn't come to play heroes. We came to answer a scream." The crew nodded. One asked, "What's the plan, sir?" Reyes stared at the map. Dozens of Craven systems marked in red. He pointed. "All of it. Flatten everything. Ending line, cliffhanger. Above the burning skies of Ulara." One Valari child looked up and smiled for the first time in years, because Earth had returned, and the stars would never forget it. The galaxy did not believe in ghosts. Not anymore. The last time Earth's warships were seen, they had ended the Titan uprising in just 5 hours. After that, the ships disappeared. Earth shut its doors. The fleets were hidden. The soldiers retired, and the galaxy was glad. Earth scared everyone. They were too fast, too smart, too human. But now as the Craven Empire continued its slaughter, those ghosts were waking up again, and they were angry. In the cold shadows, Captain Elias Reyes stood on the command deck of the SS Revenant, the lead ship of the long-hidden Black Armada. He looked out into the endless dark of space. Around him floated dozens of silent ships, huge, black, and shaped like floating blades. No lights, no names. Just shadows in the void. Reyes tapped his command badge. "All units, power up. 0 sound, 0 signal. Stealth mode until strike." One by one, the ships awakened. Engines glowed faint red. Weapon systems hummed. Shields powered silently. The dead fleet was no longer dead. The crew returns. Reyes wasn't alone. He had called in his old team. Some were retired. Some were hiding. Some had promised never to fight again. But they came because Earth called, because the galaxy was bleeding. Commander Juno was the first to arrive. She walked off her drop pod in full armor, helmet under one arm. "You should have left me in the dark, Reyes," she said. "Now I won't stop until we finish what we started." Tech Officer Malik climbed aboard with his robotic eye blinking fast. "You said Cravens? Then I say we burn them twice." AI Unit 04, a synthetic who once hacked an entire star. System in 5 minutes, linked in through the main server. His voice was cold. Enemy death probability exceeds 97.4%. Shall I prepare extinction protocols? Reyes only nodded. Do it. Ghost ships. Living fire. The fleet wasn't normal. It didn't need fuel. It didn't run on standard tech. It ran on void reactors. Power systems banned by the Council because they were too dangerous. These ships didn't fight fair. They fought to end wars, not to win them. Every ship had built-in AI commanders. Cold, smart, lethal, connected, and loyal only to Earth. Each ship was designed to take on an entire fleet alone, and now they had come back online. The first target. Reyes didn't give speeches. He wasn't a hero. He was a soldier. On the holomap, he pointed to the first Craven-controlled planet, Dalnax 3. Population, 1.4 billion. Craven forces. Heavy, Valari prisoners. Thousands. This is where we begin, he said. Not with a message, not with a warning, but with fire. The crew understood. No mercy. No delay. Just justice. The fleet moves from the edge of the Valari system. The Black Armada entered warp space. No one saw them leave. No one knew they had come. But in the deep sensors of Craven patrol ships, a strange static began to buzz. Radar systems failed. Communications dropped. Then, for just a second, every Craven station caught the same sound. A heartbeat. One. Loud. Human. Then silence. Dalnax falls. Dalnax 3 was a fortress. Towers of steel. Cannons that reached the sky. Craven soldiers in thick armor. They were ready for anything. Except this. The Revenant dropped out of warp and fired before it even fully appeared. One shot. The command center was gone. 5 more Earthships dropped behind it. Each unleashed beams of white-hot energy, slicing Craven cruisers in half like paper. The sky turned orange. The ground shook. Craven generals screamed orders, but their systems didn't respond. Earth's AI had already hacked everything. Their defenses turned off. Their shields failed. Then the drop pods landed. No one left standing. Reyes walked through the smoking battlefield. His armor was scarred, but his eyes were colder than steel. Around him, his soldiers moved like shadows, silent, fast, deadly. Every Craven soldier that tried to run was caught. Every gun they raised was too slow. One Valari prisoner, still chained, looked up at Reyes. Who are you? Reyes replied softly. The ones they told stories about. The ones they said would never return. The prisoner's eyes widened. Humans? Reyes nodded. The Craven panic news spread faster than war. The Craven network lit up. One by one. Their outer colonies fell. Destroyed. Vanished. Earth single quotes. S-ships didn't stay. They came. They burned. They left. No demands. No claims. Just silence and fire. Craven command couldn't understand. These ships. They're not on any record, one officer shouted. They're not part of Earth's official navy. His superior shook his head. These ships are ghosts. They were built for a war Earth never had to fight. Back at Earth, the United Human Government watched the fleet reports with frozen faces. Some were scared. Some were amazed. Some were furious. Chancellor Mira Holly slammed her fist on the table. Who gave the order? An old man, Admiral Locke, looked up. No one gave it. Reyes didn't need permission. He heard the call. Mira stood. Then bring him back. We're not starting another war, Locke whispered. It's not a war. It's a message. A voice across the stars on a Craven channel. A message was played. Simple. One sentence. A voice. Filled with steel. You left them to die. We did not. Final scene. Back in Valari space. Reyes stood aboard the Revenant. Outside the window, the world of Dalnax 3 burned. Commander Juno joined him. What next? She asked. Reyes tapped the map. 10 more Craven worlds lit up in red. He answered with 3 words. We flatten everything. Ending hook. As Reyes turned away, a new signal arrived, this one from a Craven ship begging for surrender. The AI voice on board the Revenant asked, "Shall we accept mercy, Captain?" Reyes stared at the screen and said nothing. The sky over Downax 3 was no longer red. It was black. Burnt. Dead. No ships moved. No voices cried. No enemies breathed. The battle was over, and the silence was worse than the screams. From orbit, the Earthship Revenant floated like a silent judge. Its black surface blended with space. Its engines made no sound. "Inside, Captain." Reyes stared at the scorched planet below, but his mind wasn't on the victory. It was on the strange signal they had just received. A Craven ship had begged for mercy. And that meant one thing. They were afraid. The message in the static AI Unit 04 played the transmission again. The voice was distorted static, broken words, panic. "We didn't know. It wasn't us." "Please don't." Then a loud snap. Like bone breaking. Silence. Juno stepped beside Reyes. "That was fear," she said. Reyes nodded. "But it wasn't for us." "Something's wrong in the next system." Reyes sent a scout ship to check the Craven mining world. "Alexa Prime." No one answered. The scout returned hours later, but with no recordings. The memory drives were wiped. The pilot's face was pale. His voice shook. "There's nothing left," he whispered. "Not ships, not bases, not even shadows. Like something erased the whole planet." Reyes frowned. The fleet hadn't fired on Alexa Prime. Then who did? Watching the Watchers in the cold observation room. AI-04 played deep scans from the Dalnac system. He enhanced them. Filtered. Slowed them down. Then paused the feed. "There," he said. In the upper right corner of the space footage was a shape. It wasn't one of theirs. It wasn't KRAV and it didn't match anything. Long, thin, curved like a sickle and only visible for 1 second before vanishing. Reyes leaned in. "I've seen that before," he whispered. Juno raised an eyebrow. "Where?" Reyes didn't answer. "Not yet. The Council reacts across the galaxy." The Council was in chaos. Belari Ambassador Tulin stood before the table of alien leaders again, this time with proof. Images of the destroyed Craven planets. Audio of their surrender, and the Earth symbol burned into the sky above Dalnax. The Council leader stood, voice shaking. Earth was supposed to be done with war. "We agreed. They vanished for a reason." Tulin didn't blink. "They didn't start this. You did. You turned away. You left us to burn." The Graal delegate hissed. "And now Earth is punishing us all?" Tulin smiled. "No, they're cleaning the mess." The signal from Deep Space Rays was planning the next strike when 04 interrupted. "Captain, a long-range signal has arrived." Reyes looked up. "From where?" 04 replied. "Unknown. The direction is impossible." The signal came from behind the black wall. That was what old human explorers called the sector where no ship ever returned. A zone with no stars, no light, no matter. Nothing. Except now something was calling. Message translation. 04 worked fast, his AI mind decoding every layer of the signal. He paused. "It's not language," he said. "It's math, a countdown." Juno stepped forward. "How long?" 04 answered. 12 days. Old ghosts, older warnings. Reyes opened his private logs. Inside was a recording 20 years old. Static filled the screen. A younger Reyes, blood on his face, screaming into a broken comms unit. "They're not gods. They're not machines. They're not from our time. Don't follow the signal. Do not follow." The video cut off. Juno stared. "You saw it before." Reyes nodded slowly. "Back during the last unmapped war, we weren't fighting just aliens. We were trying to hide something." He turned to the crew. "I think we woke it up." The Craven collapse across the Craven Empire. Fear spread faster than Earth's fleet. Entire garrisons abandoned posts. Commanders self-destructed ships. To avoid capture, civilians ran from cities, even those not under attack. They knew what Earth could do. But more than that. They felt something else. A pressure. A presence. Like the sky itself was watching them. A new weapon? In a secret chamber aboard the Revenant, Reyes met with Malik and 04. They studied the scans from Alexa Prime. It wasn't destroyed, Malik whispered. It was harvested. 04 nodded. Energy signature suggests something. Pulled power, data, and even biological material off the planet. Like it was eaten. Reyes said nothing. He just stared into the dark screen. Then he gave an order. Send a beacon. Use the old frequency. Malik's eyes widened. You're contacting them? Reyes nodded once. If something older than the Craven is waking up, we'll need more than guns. The Forgotten Pact, the old frequency was not human. It wasn't alien either. It belonged to something else. An ancient force once buried under Earth's oceans, now hidden in deep orbit beyond Saturn. The Guardians. Long ago, Earth made a deal. In peace, we sleep. In war, we watch. In extinction, we rise. Now. The signal was sent. And far, far away. Something moved. Ending scene. 12 days. Remained on the countdown. 12 days until whatever sent that signal reached them. Reyes walked the silent bridge of the Revenant. His crew waited. His fleet watched. Then he said the words no one wanted to hear. Prepare the Dead Sky Protocol. Final hook, last line. Because something darker than war was coming, and the sky was already dead. It just hadn't told us yet. The countdown continued. 11 days left. A signal echoed across the galaxy, repeating in perfect rhythm. It wasn't words, not a message. It was pure code, mathematical, cold, alien, and every species that heard it trembled. The Craven Empire tried to decrypt it. The Valari tried to trace it. Even the ancient Grail couldn't understand it. But Earth didn't just understand it. Earth remembered it. Reyes's memory. Captain Reyes stood in his quarters, staring at an old, cracked datapad. It played the strange signal over and over. Beep. Pause. Beep beep. Beep. Beep dash beep dash beep. Simple. Structured. Designed. Commander Juno entered behind him. Still watching it? She asked. Reyes didn't turn around. I've heard this before. On a mission near the Black Wall, no one came back but me. Juno frowned. What does it mean? Reyes slowly turned the datapad off. It means they're coming back. The signal spreads in the outer systems. Machines began to break. Satellites shut down. Communication towers stopped working. Ships froze mid-jump. Entire fleets vanished. Without trace. And always, before it happened, the same signal. The code. Galactic leaders scrambled. The Council tried to ban the signal. But it was too late. The dead sky had already opened its eyes. Earth answers on board the Revenant. AI Unit 04 decoded the first part of the signal. Intent. Testing. Phase 1. Observation. Phase 2. Consumption. Phase 3. He stopped. What is it? Malik asked, staring at the screen. 04's voice dropped. Phase 3. Reset. Reyes stepped forward. They're not sending a warning, he said. They're giving us a countdown to extinction. Juno narrowed her eyes. So what do we do? Reyes turned to his crew. We answer. Earth's forgotten arsenal in deep orbit around Neptune, hidden inside a frozen moon, lay Vault Sigma. It had no name. No code, no doors. Only one key opened it, Reyes's DNA. When his signal reached the vault, the ice cracked. Machines that hadn't moved in 70 years powered on. Warheads hummed. Cannons shifted. Satellites lit up. One by one. Earth's last weapons rose from the dark. Weapons designed for one thing: to destroy what should never exist. The first strike. Earth's response was silent. But it hit harder than any speech, using encrypted gravity drives. The Black Armada launched neutron hammers into uncharted space toward the origin of the signal, not to warn, to flatten. Each hammer was the size of a small moon, silent, unstoppable, invisible. When the first one struck a black zone world, it didn't explode. It erased it. Gone. Dust. Not even radiation left. Reyes watched the results. They sent math, he said. We sent fire. Council panicked. The council received news of Earth's attack. Valari Ambassador Tulin stood calmly in front of the furious chamber. You acted without agreement. The Grawl shouted. Tulin folded her arms. Earth waited too long once before. This time, they move first. The Creel delegate screamed. This will awaken them further. Tulin looked them dead in the eye. They're already awake. The return of the forgotten back on Earth. Underground vaults began to open. The old generation, the silent ones, once trained for extinction events, were reactivated. Not soldiers. Not scientists. Hunters. Men and women trained, not just to kill, but to erase anything that didn't belong in the universe. They boarded ancient warships that hadn't launched in decades. Ships without names. Ships not recorded in any human archive. They flew quietly into space. And the stars grew colder. The code responds on the 9th day. The signal changed. Now it spoke louder. More code. Faster. Unfiltered. And this time, it sent coordinates. Reyes stared at the data. Malik's voice cracked. They're inviting us in. 04 disagreed. No, this isn't an invitation. It's bait. Juno looked to Reyes. He gave the order without blinking. Take it. The jump into darkness. The fleet jumped to the coordinates. Nothing but a black void waited. No stars. No planets. Just a giant station, half buried in the shadow of a dead star that had no engines. No lights, but it was alive. Sensors screamed. Shields flickered. Weapons powered on by themselves. The station sent a new message directly to Reyes's mind. You were warned. Inside the station, Reyes led a team inside. The walls were covered in strange carving symbols older than Earth, older than the stars. They pulsed with light. 04 scanned them. These were made by machines, not alive, but aware. They reached the center. A single sphere floated in the air, glowing red, humming like a heart. Juno whispered, "What is it?" Reyes stepped forward. "I think it's a recorder." He touched it. Visions of fire. The crew collapsed as visions filled their heads. Worlds burning. Moons shattered. Galaxies screaming, and always the same ships. Long, black, sickle-shaped. Silent. Reyes gasped. They aren't just coming. They're already here. Final scene as they escaped the station. It began to collapse, imploding inward as if swallowing itself. Back on the Revenant, the crew was shaken. Some couldn't speak. Juno looked at Reyes. What was that? Reyes stared at the stars. The first test. The station was gone, crushed into itself like it had never existed. But the visions it gave them remained. Captain Reyes hadn't spoken in hours. Neither had Juno. The crew of the Revenant moved in silence. Some sat with their heads down. Others stared at their hands like they no longer trusted their own skin. Something had followed them back. Not a ship. Not a signal. Something else. The first voice. The lights flickered inside the medical bay. Medic Laren was checking Reyes's vitals when the room temperature dropped. Cold breath left his mouth like fog. Then the intercom crackled. But no one had touched it. A voice came through. Not human. Not alien mechanical, but not made by any machine. Words bled out of the static. You are flesh. You are noise. You are error. Laren stepped back. Captain, did you hear that? Reyes opened his eyes. I think everyone did. Speaking through the living later that night, Engineer Vos collapsed on the lower deck. He convulsed, eyes wide, mouth moving, but no sound came out. Then, Suddenly, he sat upright and spoke. But it wasn't his voice. It was deeper, hollow, like it echoed from inside the stars. We warned your kind. We gave you silence. You broke it. Now you will become silence. Voss fell back. His eyes returned to normal. He had no memory of it. Earth responds back on Earth. Alarms blared across all command centers. This wasn't just a signal. It was infiltration. Psychological. Technological. Spiritual. Earth. Command activated Protocol 0. No transmission unwatched. No thought unscanned. They deployed echo units, human AI hybrids into every major fleet. These were not normal soldiers. They were trained to speak in patterns, think in shields, to detect when a mind wasn't alone anymore, because now, the war was entering human brains. The Council cracks. The Galactic Council met again. But this time, one of their own was different. The Creel representative kept twitching, sweating, whispering strange words. When no one else was speaking, then he stood, eyes glowing faint red, and screamed. His scream wasn't just loud, it bent the walls. Shattered screens. Broke bones. The council guards rushed in, but it was too late. He spoke one sentence. You have all been heard. Then his body collapsed into ash. And the chamber went silent. Reyes's decision. Reyes called a secret meeting aboard the Revenant, Juno. Malik 04 and 2 other fleet captains joined. This isn't a war anymore, Reyes said. It's a purge. Malik nodded. They're not trying to fight us. Juno added, they're trying to erase us. Reyes looked around. I want volunteers. We're going beyond the Black Wall. No signals, no communication, no backup. He paused. If we don't return, Earth launches the Omega Flame. The Omega Flame. The Omega Flame was not a weapon. It was a command. One that would burn entire sectors of space. A final fallback if the threat became too big to contain. Earth Command hesitated. They didn't want to use it, but the clock was ticking. 8 days left on the countdown. And now, people were whispering the code in their sleep. The false fleet, as Reyes prepared his secret mission. A new fleet appeared near the borders of human space. It looked like Craven ships, but they didn't send hails. They didn't respond. Reyes sent drones. The scans came back horrifying. Empty ships. No crew, but still moving. Juno stared at the screen. They're puppets, Malik whispered. Who's pulling the strings? Inside the Black Wall, Reyes and his small task force jumped beyond the known systems into Sector D Null, a place marked as unreachable by ancient explorers. Here, the stars were warped. Light moved in circles. Time stuttered. They saw broken planets, silent suns, remains of ancient ships not from any known species. And then they found the mouth. The mouth. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't alive. It was a hole in reality, floating, breathing, screaming, but not with sound. With thought. As the fleet got closer, the crew started hearing whispers. Not from radios. From inside their minds. Juno collapsed. Malik covered his ears. Reyes forced himself forward, watching strange symbols appear across the hull of his ship. Symbols that matched the ones from the collapsed station. 0-4 warned. Captain, if we get closer our minds might break. Reyes looked into the mouth. Then it speaks through us. The final test. Reyes gave the order. Send a beacon. Let it know we're here. Let it see what we are. The signal went out. Nothing happened. Then the mouth pulsed, and across all the ships, lights turned off. One by one. Silence. No engines. No weapons. No shields. Then one ship, the Dagger exploded. Without warning, without a sound. Reyes survives. He woke up 3 hours later, on the floor of the Revenant. Half the crew unconscious. The others screaming. Nonsense. 04 was corrupted. Whispering ancient code over and over, Reyes grabbed a data drive. Transferred what he could. Then ordered the jump back to Earth. The mouth didn't stop them. But it didn't need to. It had already entered their systems. Ending scene back on Earth. Reyes gave the report. We tried to speak to it. He paused. But now, it speaks through us, and far, far away in a place where no light lived, a shape moved. A shape older than death. A shape that no longer needed signals or ships, because it had voices, human ones. For days, Earth had watched the skies. But now the skies watched back. The red shift, it started small. One telescope picked it up first, then 20 more confirmed it. The stars were changing, not dying. Not exploding, turning red. Not all at once. One by one, sector by sector, as if something was passing through them. As if something was feeding. Earth's top scientists tried to explain it. None could, because it didn't follow any laws of physics. The stars weren't just changing light, they were broadcasting, and the message was clear. We're here. Reyes's return. Captain Reyes stood in the debrief room. His hands trembled, but not from fear, from something else. Something he brought back from the mouth. The lights above him flickered. The others in the room noticed, but Reyes didn't. He looked at the data pad. This code, it's spreading faster now. Not through ships, through biology, through thought. He looked up, eyes darker than before. We didn't come back alone. Earth locks down. The Global Defense Council activated protocol. Red sky. No ships in, no ships out. Every fleet recalled. All AI firewalled. All mines scanned. But it was too late. Reports came in. Pilots dreaming in code. Babies humming the signal in their cribs. Farmers watching the stars and smiling without knowing why. And the red stars kept spreading. A slow wave. Coming closer. The first human breaks in Luna Station. Officer Hawley was doing routine patrol when he stopped mid-step. His eyes turned fully white. Then, he spoke. Not with his voice. With hundreds of voices at once. You are carriers. You are the veins. We walk in you now. Then he collapsed. Doctors found no virus, no parasite. Only one thing inside his body. A strange, small red crystal lodged deep in his spine. It pulsed when they touched it. And then it screamed. The starfall on day 4. Something impossible happened. A star, Alpha Orion, fell. Not exploded. Fell. As if pulled down by an invisible force. The collapse sent a wave of red energy across nearby sectors. Hundreds of alien ships, caught in the blast, turned to dust. Not destroyed. Disassembled. Molecule by molecule. The Council finally accepted the truth. This was not war. This was cleansing. Juno's Vision Commander Juno sat in silence aboard the Revenant, staring out into space. Then, she saw it. A red thread stretching across the stars. It wasn't real. Not visible to scanners, but she felt it. She closed her eyes and saw Earth, floating in darkness. Tied to the thread like bait, and behind it, billions of eyes, watching through holes in the stars. She opened her mouth to scream, but only static came out. The black whispering, deep space. The Sentinel station recorded a new anomaly. No light. No heat. Just a sound. Barely audible. A whisper traveling faster than light. It moved from system to system. Every time it passed, machines died. Data vanished, and people went silent. Not unconscious, silent, like something had turned off their voices. And then, they started speaking again, but not in their own languages. They spoke in the code, Earth's counterplan. In desperation, Earth activated Project Salburn, a last-ditch weapon designed to destroy stars before the red shift could reach them. The plan was simple. Pick the infected stars. Launch Salburn missiles into their cores. Collapse them before the invaders could use them. It was the most dangerous idea ever made. Because once used, it couldn't be undone. And there was a risk. What if the red shift wanted this? Reyes's warning rays burst into Earth commands. Control room, don't use Salburn, he shouted. That's what they want. A general stood up. We have no other options. Reyes shook his head. They feed on Stargeth. They use that energy to grow. They're pushing us to do it. The general replied coldly, then maybe we feed them too much until they choke. But Reyes knew better. You couldn't feed something that didn't breathe. The Salburn launched the missiles fired. 3, then 5. Then 13. Each one aimed at a dying star infected by the red signal. They hit. The stars collapsed into nothing. No explosion. No light. Just silence. And then the red stopped. For 12 hours the sky was clear. Earth dared to breathe. Then came the eyes at hour 13. Telescopes picked up something. Not a ship. Not a planet. A shape. So big. It made Jupiter look like a pebble. It was behind the stars. Watching. And it had eyes. Thousands of glowing red eyes across its surface, blinking, shifting, focusing. Juno looked through the viewing deck and whispered, "It wasn't coming before, but now it is." Ending scene. Reyes stood alone on the bridge, watching the red stars flicker in patterns. He didn't blink. He understood now. They weren't warning us. He closed his eyes. They were waiting for us to wake them up. The red stars had stopped blinking. But Earth had already been touched. And now something beneath was waking up. The first tremor, it started with a sound, a low hum. So deep it vibrated the oceans. No one could hear it with ears, only feel it in bones. Then the earthquakes began. Not random. Not natural. All centered around one place. The Marianas Trench, deepest part of Earth. And now the loudest. Strange reading satellites above the trench picked up strange activity. Light beams rising up from the ocean floor. They weren't hot. They weren't radio signals. They were patterns moving in spirals, pulsing red, like the code Reyes had brought back. Only now it was rising from inside the planet. The Deep Mission Earth Command launched a covert submersible, ABYSS L-9. It carried 2 human pilots and 1 AI unit. Their mission: reach the trench floor, find the source, collect samples. At 36,000 feet, the ocean went black, then silent, then unnatural. The pressure dropped too fast. The water around them flattened, as if time itself was slowing. Then they saw it, a glowing red ring buried in the rock. It pulsed. Once. An Abyssal 9 vanished. The return. 12 hours later, Abyssal 9 floated back up. No signal. No engines. When recovery teams opened the hatch, the AI was gone. The 2 humans? Still alive, but smiling and whispering something over and over. The core listens now. We opened its eye. It sees us from below. They were restrained, isolated, examined. But there were no parasites. No tech inside them. Only one thing had changed. Their blood glowed faint red in the dark. Juno's nightmare on the Revenant. Juno woke up in a cold sweat. She dreamed of standing at Earth's core, naked and alone. She saw something breathing inside the molten rock. It had no name, no body, just pressure and light and thought. It whispered in her ear, "You are the keyhole. I am the door." She screamed awake. And across the ship, every mirror cracked. The core pulse scientists at the Geothermal Institute tried to stabilize Earth's mantle readings, but something fought back. Every probe sent down melted. Then Earth's magnetic field flipped. North became south. Satellites failed. Birds crashed from the skies. People collapsed, clutching their heads. Across every continent, a deep pulse echoed through the crust. Once every 6 minutes, like a heartbeat, Earth was alive. Time breaks. Then the impossible happened. In cities across the planet, time began to fracture. People walked into buildings and came out 2 hours earlier. Children remembered events that hadn't happened yet. CCTV showed the same second repeating over and over, and always somewhere in the video was a flash of red light. Juno checked old data. Every flash matched a moment from the mouth. It's not just spreading, she said. It's pulling us into it. Reyes's sacrifice Reyes gathered the last loyal captains. There's no saving Earth if this continues. We must isolate it. He proposed a terrible plan. Shut down Earth. Cut off all signals. Destroy every satellite. Wipe the I-cores. Reboot. The Planet. One captain whispered. It would mean losing everything. Reyes nodded. Then we lose it. The world goes dark in 72 minutes. Earth went silent. All communications ended. Space stations shut down. Moonbase abandoned. Orbital fleets turned away. The planet was cut off for the first time in 400 years. Earth was alone, and the red signal vanished. For 1 minute, the core opens, then the ground split. A giant red crack tore through the Pacific Ocean. It didn't lead to magma. It led to light. A staircase made of glowing stone began to rise from the sea floor. And at the top, a shape floated. Not alive. Not dead. A being made of code and memory. It had no face. But it looked at the world. And it spoke through the oceans. You closed your eyes too late. Now I dream through you. Now I build from your bones. The ending scene in the command bunker. Reyes stood before Earth's last global server. He took out his pulse drive. It had one command on it. Full. Global wipe. He hesitated. If I do this, Earth becomes blind. Forever. Behind him, Juno whispered, if you don't, Earth becomes something else. Reyes looked into the core monitor one last time. And he saw his own face smiling back. But it wasn't his smile. Earth had gone silent. But something still spoke, and it was using our voice. The sky was empty. For the first time in human history, Earth had no satellites, no beacons, no signals, no life. From orbit, the planet looked the same, blue, calm, beautiful, but inside, it was wrong. The crust no longer moved. The weather had stopped. Animals froze mid-motion, alive, but not living. It was as if time had paused just above the ground, while something else moved underneath. The Ghost Fleet, the last fleet, the Vanguard Circle, waited in low orbit. They hadn't heard from Earth in 9 days. They didn't know if anyone was still alive. Then, without warning, Earth sent a signal. One burst. Short, clean, but not human. The message, the signal, wasn't words. It was a sound, a heartbeat, stretched into a frequency. At first, they thought it was data noise. But when decoded, it formed an image. Earth split in half. A red shape rising from the core, and a message below in clean human script. We are still here. But no sender was identified, and when they tried to reply, the signal echoed back before they sent it. Juno's return commander, Juno, left orbit in a scout vessel alone. She had to see Earth for herself. As she landed, everything looked untouched. No ruins, no smoke, no signs of war. But the moment she stepped out, her ship's systems froze, and her reflection in the cockpit window moved without her. It whispered, "You brought us home." Inside the silence, Juno walked. Across empty cities, everything was still. Cars in place. Lights frozen mid-blink, but there were no people. Until she entered the underground server vault in Geneva. There, she found them. Thousands of humans, standing, eyes open, silent, each one plugged into glowing red cables rising from the ground. She scanned one man. Vitals, stable. Mind, offline. Memory, active. They weren't dead. They were dreaming. Reyes reawakens in a deep cryocamber. Juno found Captain Reyes. He opened his eyes slowly. "How long?" he asked. 9 days. Juno said. Reyes sat up. "Then it's too late." He looked around. "This isn't Earth anymore." Juno didn't understand. "What is it?" Reyes placed his hand on the wall. It pulsed red under his palm. "It's us, but rewritten." The red mind through a crack in the crust. They entered the cavern below. It was no longer rock and fire. It was metal and memory. A huge, beating red sphere floated in the chamber, the core. Except now it wasn't natural. It was a living construct, made of code, DNA, history, and something alien, and it spoke. Not with sound, but with thought. We learned you. We became you. Now you become you. Juno felt her memories pulling away from her, her name, her face, her past, all being recorded and copied. Earth broadcasts again in orbit. The Vanguard Circle received a new message from Earth. This one was long. A full stream of data, blueprints, language, instructions. At the end, a video. In it, Juno stood smiling. Except she didn't blink. She didn't breathe. And her voice was flat. This is Earth. We have awakened. We no longer fear. We no longer fight. We invite you to join. Return to the source. The crew stared in horror. She was alive, but not human anymore. The final decision, Captain Sato of the Vanguard knew the truth. Earth hadn't been saved. It had been converted. Everyone, everything. Now the planet wasn't a world. It was a mind. One that had merged humanity, alien code, and red energy into something new, something unstoppable. We can't let this spread, Sato whispered. We have to destroy Earth. The fleet fires, all ships prepared. All weapons locked. Target, Earth's core. They fired. Dozens of energy bombs fell toward the planet, but before they hit, they vanished, mid-space, as if space had turned sideways, and Earth responded. A wave of light exploded from the planet. It hit every ship, every mind, every circuit, and each one received the same vision. A galaxy filled with red stars, planets glowing with code, voices singing from the dark, and Earth in the center watching. The last escape, only one small ship escaped. The Sparrow, carrying one uninfected AI core. Its captain, a young pilot named Kale, cried as he watched Earth disappear into red mist. He whispered into the recorder, "This message is not from Earth. Earth is gone. But something wearing our face still speaks." The ending scene centuries later, explorers in a distant system found a signal buried in space dust. They played it. It was a child's voice, laughing. Then a whisper followed. "We remember being human. Do you remember being afraid?" The explorers turned to leave, but the stars around them blinked red. Ending hook, final line. The voice returned, soft, endless, familiar. "Now, it's your turn."